Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everyone. We are live. Silvia, why don't you perhaps introduce yourself to the people who might not have seen or heard about you before?
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. First of all, it's great to be here. You are one of the person I got in touch via LinkedIn, and your content does resonate so much with myself and my journey and where I am right now. So it's a pleasure to have this conversation. It's just like a coffee chat, right? So it's more than a proper I don't know, webinar or whatever. So yeah, what can I tell you? I just start saying my name. I'm Silvia Schweiger. I'm Italian, as you can tell from my accent. I live in London. I'm 49. I'm a mom of a very funny and grumpy teenager right now. And I live in London. It's a fantastic city. I love London. There's everything and nothing here. So I really feel, I can do whatever I like, and even just, hiding in the park with no one else around or being fully busy in the center. I'm a very active person. I'm very sporty. I love sport, always loved sport. And yeah, as a professional, my job is a sports marketing and motorsports marketing advisor. And here is where, all the questions usually,
Start.
come out.
How did a woman, Italian, beautiful
Exactly.
female lady get into the motorsports and marketing? And then, of course, everybody assumes that it's because you have the passion for Formula or all the motorsports, but it doesn't sound like that's actually the case, right?
Yeah, this is the always the funny part, because I start, talking about who I am as a person more than, my profession. But usually the questions come out just when I say I'm a motorsports marketing advisor. And the first reaction is, okay, so you are a car lover, and or, you love races, or you go to races. So there's so much kind of not misinformation, but it's hard to understand exactly what I do. And actually, I'm a marketer, basically. And it's weird, because especially right now with social media and all the platform we have and we use, everyone is kind of a marketer, because there are so many content creators, so many people creating and sharing information for what they do, their services, if they sell something. So the idea of marketing is kind of pretty clear right now, more than it was 15 years ago. And sport is immense, is wide. We all love sport. We are all, not everyone, but the majority of people, whether it is like a fan from the telly or live to an event, or since we are kids, we go, playing football, we go swimming, we go with mommy and daddy with the bike. We are very active usually. So sport is such a big part of everyone's life. And so for me, it's still strange that people don't understand that there are professionals behind this huge industry that is sport. And within this big industry of sport, there is motorsport, which is very, very big. And inside that niche, as many people define it, there are people like me and professional that acts like advisor for companies and brands willing to invest in this industry.
So you're an entrepreneur, is that correct?
Yeah. When I started my career, I actually, we were saying it wasn't because of passion. I wasn't passionate about motorsport. my dad and my brother, they used to watch Formula One on Sunday after lunch. It was the classic thing that every Italian family was doing back then and even now. So it was lunch, the Italian lunch, Sunday lunch, Formula One, football, and I was around there, so I was watching. I always been very, very active, so I loved and still love sport a lot. So it was normal for me to be, you know, in front of the telly watching sport. But I didn't know that it could have been, you know, a career or a job. Then I attended, after uni, I did a postgraduate master in marketing and communication, and I found out about sponsorship that are a part of, you know, the marketing mix strategy that every company basically can use. And so it was a great, you know, idea for me to put these two things together: marketing, that was not my passion, but what I wanted to do in my life, and sports, because I always been there watching sports. So I said to myself, there are millions of people, and these people are potential consumers and potential customers. So that's amazing. So that's why I basically started. And 23 years ago, so a long time ago. It's been a long.
And I have a question, because I'm in a leadership development career, all these things, and so many people are looking for calling, for purpose, for meaning, for fulfillment. How do you keep a passion, a spark in a profession or a career for 23 years, doing, essentially being in the same kind of field, the same career? How have you done that? That's amazing.
That's a great question, and thanks for asking me, because it can be overwhelming sometimes if you see, you know, the numbers of years I'm in the same industry and doing the same job, and I'm not impatient, but I get tired in a way very easily, and so I always need new things to do or to new challenges. And my job is great because basically I'm in between brands and corporations, any type of brand and corporation. So that's the beauty, because I'm the advisor of any industry, basically, because, you know, in sports, everyone can invest in sports, from beauty, food and beverage, finance, IT, any you name it, any industry. And on the other side, I have the properties, the teams, riders, drivers. So, and it's always changing and evolving. So it's a very dynamic industry, and my positioning in between them is the best ever, because I have that's what I loved about my job since the very beginning. I can express my creativity in a way as a strategist and apply what I know and my knowledge and my creativity, supporting different type of industry and brands. Even within the same corporation, there are different brands. Each of them has its own character, values, goals, territories, audience. So every brand is an independent entity in a way. On the other side, we have teams and properties, and motorsport is not just Formula One. There are different championship, different riders, different drivers, and they are all different. So they have their own charisma, character, territories, because, you know, now we speak a lot about South American drivers or European drivers. So it depends on the territories as well. So they are very different. So putting those words together, it's amazing. That's why there's not a single project that is like the previous one.
And what's the hard thing about your job? I mean, being a female in that industry, I could imagine, is one. Is there any, like, I don't know. I know that some artists and sports have some egos. Is there anything that's particularly challenging to deal with in your work?
So the challenging, and I am going to write something about it next week. It's a rejection. Being an independent agency and an entrepreneur, it's me offering my consultancy to big corporation and big brands, and it can be hard to digest every single no. It's very hard, and most of the time is a no. To get a yes, you have to eat I don't know how many no's. So and you have to be good in trying, not to take it personally. It's not a no against myself as a person. It's a no against, or it's an outcome over a project, not a personal thing. But it's hard because after 20 years, it's not easy. So, and every day
how do you overcome that? Because I think for people listening to this, many, we have this big shift that is happening, that people are moving out of corporate and they are starting their business, their side hustles, entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
I'm sure that many of this LinkedIn Live are in that boat. And how did you overcome? What is your advice for those who are moving out of the security of big jobs into their own journey, where they will deal with rejection, with trials, with errors, with having to put your name out there, being on the video, doing all these different things? What is your advice? How to overcome
That's another great question, Sanita. And it's hard. It's very hard for me. I see it. Every no is a step towards a yes. So sometimes I need to celebrate a no, because I know that this is a number, a tick towards the outcome I'm looking for. So I see it as a part of the process. But not every. I have to be honest with you on this one. Not everyone is fit for this kind of not job but position. So
what do you think of those qualities?
Sorry?
What are those qualities? And I agree, not everybody is, because some people just cannot let go of security. They too much, fear. So what have you found is the most helpful in terms of character, qualities, thinking, mindset?
I think that I'm very determined. I can speak about myself, but I can see the same pattern in person, in people like myself. You have to be determined. You have to have a big goal. You have to set clear goals to yourself. It cannot be, a blur thing. You have to have, I have a daily schedule, a weekly one, a monthly one, a 6-month one, and a year one. So, and I need to see my progress. I need to stick with the plan, adjusting to it, of course, and relying on myself, basically. So you have to be committed, determined. You have to have the stamina to wake up and get up every single day after, a bad day the day before, after maybe 3 big no's that you were hoping were, maybe just okay, let's talk about it, and do it again, all over again, every single day. And I think that now this is a trend, right? So many people shifting from corporate to professional. It's not easy, because if you have been used, to the nice and big business card with the name of the company you were working for till the other day, now you are alone. So you have to be pretty strong. And
you have to celebrate and acknowledge your success. Like the other day, I was saying to someone that we have to learn to celebrate any firsts. Because, similar to yourself, I'm also now entrepreneur. I'm running my own consultancy. And I just realized they have to be better at celebrating any first, first win, first client, first proposal accepted, first whatever workshop there, first whatever that is, right? We have to celebrate, we have to acknowledge, we have to have really high goals, we have to be super ambitious, but we also have to give ourselves credit. Because
absolutely.
we have a manager who's going to give ourselves credit.
Absolutely, and I run a lot. I'm prepping for the London Marathon. So during my long runs, I listen to hours of podcasts. And there is, I'm sure you know her, Mel Robbins. She's very, very vocal on this topic. And she says, basically, you should wake up every morning and celebrate yourself because you are good, because you have the courage to stand up every day and fight for what you think is worth fighting. And even just, waking up and try your best. So you should celebrate yourself for trying every day to be the best you can be that day. Maybe that day is 50%. It's okay. I mean, we can't be always 100% or 120. And sometimes I celebrate my losses as well. I said, okay, that was meant to be. I learned something. Next time I'm going to be better. Next time I learn how to do this better. Or maybe there's not even a lesson to learn. It was a no, and that's it. So I learned to deal with it.
For me, that's a growth mindset. And we know the Carol Dweck, American psychologist, talking about growth mindset. And I think when we are embarking on this journey without a growth mindset, there's just absolutely no way. We have to be able to see losses as opportunities to learn, failures as opportunities to grow. And, coming back to your marathon, because that's something I absolutely wanted to talk about. I think also part of, balancing out, having our well-being, doing our activities, sleeping well is so important when we are in this journey, because if we don't take care of ourselves, there is absolutely no way we can do our job. So how did you get into this whole running journey? And I've been following your LinkedIn and being so inspired by what you're doing.
Oh my God, yes. I'm very, very happy, very excited, but scared as well, because it's a big thing. And basically, I started running properly in a way. I'm not even a runner, I'm a jogger. We call ourselves joggers. Last year, I just joined a running club here in London. And when you are part of the community, and it's something I treasure so much. Even on LinkedIn, I've met amazing people through communities and through connections. You are part of a group of people coming from every part of the world. London is amazing in this sense. And some of them, even older ladies, that are still running races and fundraising. And I learned about fundraising, racing for fundraising here in London is not common in Italy. And so I said, why you're doing it? It's just a marathon. And it's not just you. It can be, a bigger thing, a bigger goal.
A bigger cause,
you can support charities, people. And so I get intrigued, of course, and I found out this amazing world behind the major, especially marathons. So of course I'm competitive. I mean, I've always been very competitive. So I said, okay, I'll give it a go. At first we're starting, with small races within the club, and then everyone, was running something, and they started asking me to join them. So to cut the story short, I ran a half marathon a couple of months ago for this charity here in London. And they were so happy. And I was honestly so excited. I had a goal, a clear goal. And the goal was to run for them and raise the money for them. And so I did it. The half marathon was pretty good. And the next day they called me saying, look, we would love to give you a place for the London Marathon. And I was like, oh my gosh. I said, okay. I know I can do it. So out of, a moment of craziness, I decided to do it. But it's a bigger goal. And the other day I was listening to another podcast, and they were saying, especially in the last part of the race, you need to grasp inside yourself, and you have to get hold to the main goal that you set to yourself. And this goal has to be set months before you start your preparation and before you go to the marathon. And I have that goal. So it's a charity that supports children in hospital with cancer. I have a couple of friends and people very close to myself that are struggling with cancer. So it's, it's a way for me to run, because it's great for my mental health. I find clarity when I run. Sometimes I go out for a run before a meeting, before an important day at work. I've got ideas when I'm running. I come back home very more open, more refreshed in a way. And then if I can support someone else, I think we all should have a bigger goal. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, in sport, it's what is, is keeping me there every single day. And it's tough, Sanita, because especially now, yesterday I went running at 7 p.m. It was dark, it was raining. I was by myself. It was cold for an hour, almost 2 hours. It was very tough, but I can do it.
I can relate to that. I'm climbing mountains. I don't run. I do have a partner that loves running, but I climb mountains, and we are actually now preparing to go in 3 weeks to Argentina to climb Mount Aconcagua, which is the highest mountain in South America, actually outside Himalayas in the world. And just on the weekend, we went to climb the highest peak in Oman, and it's a long, long hike, almost 26 kilometers, 13 hours. And I could so relate what you just said, because by the end of the hike, I was exhausted. I could barely walk. It was freezing cold, and I was just so tired. But that whole freedom that I get from hiking mountains, from being in nature, from moving, from not, able to think, process my thoughts, it gives so much. And I always say to everybody that I work with, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's leadership, we have to give ourselves this opportunity to do something that is related to movement, that is, running, hiking, gym, whatever, because if we just do our mind work and we don't move our bodies, then we can actually not perform. We cannot perform at our best.
Absolutely. I think we definitely need to find a balance, and I work better if it's a way to release energy and to get inspiration and to distress as well. And for me, it's even when I go around for races and stuff, I always have my running shoes with me, and I always find the time to run.
Amazing. So maybe let's come back and talk a little bit more about your entrepreneurial journey, because I know just that I know that it's such a big movement. Just today, actually, I talked to somebody about building portfolio career, and some people know about it, some people have never heard about it. But portfolio career is essentially the concept that you don't do just one job, you do more than one job, and your income sources are diversified, and you get your money from different things. Which I feel perhaps not quite 100%, but in a way it is, right? Because you work with different companies, you work with different projects, so you don't have just that one thing. You're also lecturing in university, so you are in a way having that portfolio career. So how do you feel about being able to manage all that diversity and all these different jobs and still, perform at your best level?
Yeah, that it's not easy again. But I think it also depends on the stages of our career. I'm turning 50 now at the end of the month, and so for example, the lecturing part of my job right now, probably this was the best time in my career to do it. I felt I need to do it. I need to share my experience, share my knowledge, share what I've learned in 20 years of doing this job with younger generation, with younger professional. So maybe 10 years ago, it wouldn't have been my priority. I was so focused into my things that I didn't have the time to do it, or it was not the right time. While now it is, and it's incredible because I started lecturing this school in Italy. They called me saying, look, they have so many masters after, most of them after university, post graduation, and they said, look, motorsport is so famous and so important now. It's a big industry. Do you think there is a place for this topic for a master? And so of course there is. I mean, it's a huge industry. This is a big misconception about motorsport and automotive. It's not a niche at all. Motorsport is a huge industry. And you know, motorsport like Formula One, all the big brands are there. So, and most of the big sponsors are huge companies. And so I said, yes, of course, there's more than that. I mean, you need to have this offer in your platform. So I started this course from scratches, from zero, basically. And this is the third edition this year. We just started a couple of weeks ago. And it's great because it's what I would have wanted when I was, 25 or 23. Back then, I didn't have this opportunity, and I had so many questions in my head, and I didn't have any answers. So I didn't even know what I was doing, actually. And again, I wasn't passionate about motorsport. I wasn't a fan. So I just thought it was a great opportunity. So I jumped into it because it was a feeling more than something I knew. And now all the questions I get from the participants are about my experience. Well, how did I start? How did I find the right path? About my experience. So it's great to share what I did and what I'm doing. And I think I need to share and help, support the new professional. The better the professional, the better the industry. So if we can have better professional, the industry will grow and get better. So yeah, it's not easy to juggle everything, and that's why we have like a window in which we do this master that is in between races. So now the Formula One season is basically finished right now. So we do it during the winter because of the winter pause, let's say. But we are still always working, even if you don't see the races on track. The behind the scene is always working, and that's a tough part of the job as well. Another, misconception that you go to races. Not everyone goes to races. Many people are on this side of the screen working and working full time, most of the time during weekends as well. And so it's tough. It's not always easy. That's why I say it's not to be a fan is not enough. You have to be very sure that you are a good professional beyond your fandom.
So what I'm drawing from this conversation, kind of coming back about this portfolio career and how you design it, at least what I always advise or talk about with my clients is that you have this core that gives you the chunk of your career or job, and then you add the side kind of hustles or side jobs. And it sounds for you, the core obviously is your consulting work, and then you have your university work, and I'm sure you give some talk and do all these other mentoring and all these other things, which I think is wonderful. And for me, really, like listening to your conversation, I feel you're such an embodiment of a fulfilled person who is, working with passion, taking care of your well-being and all of that. And in those moments of kind of doubt and, really the down days, which we all have, because we can never have all the high performance. We always balance optimal performance with the high performance. Could you share maybe with the audience maybe 2-3 tips How do you get yourself out of those black kind of cloudy moments?
Yeah, it's tough. It's not easy. I have very bad days. It's not nice at all, especially when you are juggling so many things. It's you have to let something go and accept that you can't be perfect. For a long time, I had this idea of you have to be perfect, you have to be strong, you have to be, to go into every details. It's impossible. It's impossible. I always try to value the progress rather than perfection. But again, it's a journey. It's probably when I was younger, I was more impatient. So I was trying even to be but with perfection, in a way, in our mind, we think the more perfect we are, the better. So, but it's not true. But it may be something that is coming with maturity, in a way. And I try to embrace my down moment and say, okay, you've been rubbish, or that's such a rubbish day. But at the end of the day, I know that there are people that have bigger struggle than what I have, and I try to refocus and put everything into perspective. So is this something that really needs you to be so bad or to feel so bad about? Yes or no? Probably it's a no, it's not that important. So let it go, and today is going to be better. So I always try to look at the half glass, always full rather than empty. And I'm learning, I'm reading so much about it. I'm listening to so many podcasts about positivity, about talking positively to yourself. To you are what you say to yourself. If every
100%.
day I woke up saying, oh my God, this is going to be a terrible day, that terrible day is coming because I'm calling it. While I try always to be, positive and to say, okay, today is going to be a pretty intense day. Let's start with a nice coffee. So I try to get positive into the day, and it's you have to work on that as well.
Absolutely, it's the realistic positivity that I find, and what I love about is the we used to think we are superheroes. We have to do all of these things, but then letting it go. And I recently let go of a few projects that I just felt it was too much, and they just were not the right projects. And you have to let go. And also these small things that you mentioned, I can so relate. The coffee. The first thing I do when I wake up, I always have my coffee. So my Instagram, whoever follows me on Instagram, is full. Always full with my coffee stories because it's just such a small moment. We just give ourselves a cup of coffee. We sit down for even if it's like 2 minutes, and we just gather our thoughts, and we look around, and we enjoy the day, and we savor the coffee. And it's the small moment, but when we are in this mess and uncertainty and the volatility, we have to give ourselves those moments just to have a little bit of self-compassion.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what I think about? A couple of years ago, I was walking. It was I still remember this moment as it is, now. I was walking. I was at the seaside in Italy, and I just had a very terrible call, job related. And my face was. I was walking on the seaside, thinking about that awful call, and I bumped into this man, and he looked at me smiling, saying, oh my God, you should have had a very terrible day today. And I was like, oh my God, you can tell. Oh my God, yes, I can tell. You are so negative, so dark in your face and your way of walking. And it shocked me in a way, because I said, I'm here, I'm walking on the seaside, the day is beautiful, this guy is smiling, and okay, I had a bad call, but I cannot let this call define my day. I can't, bump into people with this face and that, tells everything about myself in that moment being so bad. So every time I feel like, I'm overwhelmed by negativity, I think about that man, telling me, oh my God, your face, yours. And, it can only happen in Italy when we are so straightforward, and I didn't know this man, but it was so evident that he couldn't, he had to tell me. So I try to
That's
to think,
wonderful.
yeah.
And it helps because you have this image in your mind, and it always helps you to bring your thoughts back to it and reframe your thinking, because essentially what you're doing, you're reframing your thinking, and you're turning that negative thinking into, okay, how can I look at this positively? And whenever we start asking ourselves, how can I do this differently? Our brain and mind, it starts to look for an answer. So if we ask our mind, why I'm having such a terrible day, then our mind will answer why we have such a terrible day. And when we ask our mind how we can do this differently, then mind will look for the answers how we can do this differently. One thing that I love about you, Sylvia, and I have noticed this over and over, is that on your LinkedIn, you always cheer and, promote other people and acknowledge other people and support other people. And I feel like in all the things that are happening, it's so important to have that attitude. And I'm similar way. I always share and, try to lift others up. So where do you find that strengths in yourself? And why do you have chosen to have this approach? Because it's a choice to do that, right?
Yeah, it's a choice. You're definitely right. I started being more active on LinkedIn because just I first thing I wanted to be more clear about my profession, about what I do, about what I stand for in a way, and about the opportunities that this job and industry offers. And I found out amazing people like you, like so many others. And I wasn't expecting that, honestly, because in a way you think, okay, it's another social media, so it will be all fake. Okay, let's go, let's try and do it. Then I started meeting with coffee chats or in-person meeting with amazing professionals, and all of them are sharers, are people that shares and give knowledge and support each other. And I feel so good when someone, is supporting me and is saying that what I write or what I share that helps them or whatever. So if I feel good, I think that I can be, a positive supporter as well. Why I don't want to be a negative supporter. And I think that the more positive you are, the more positivity you get. I'm
100%.
so convinced about that. So I don't want to have negativity. I just want to bring positivity and get positivity. And
Absolutely.
and to be honest with you, it's all I do on LinkedIn is on top of my everyday job. So last week I got a couple of comments, nasty comments, and someone was saying to me, "You'd better take your time and spend your time doing your job." I said, "Okay." I don't think I'm doing nothing wrong, honestly. On the contrary, I'm sharing so much that sometimes I even doubt about sharing so much. And on top of that, I'm doing my job. So this negativity, I don't even want to come to me in a way. I just want to let it go, because it's we have so much negativity right now everywhere. So it's a choice. I want to be a positivity spreader, an energy spreader. And I think that the energy that comes back to me is going to be the same.
Exactly. And I think this is where we connected, right? Because I'm the same way, and I cannot be with those who are, and especially the doubters. The doubters are always the ones who cannot do it themselves. So if they cannot do it themselves, then they will judge you, they will doubt you, they will tell you all these things, what you should or shouldn't be doing, because the ones who can are obviously doing, like yourself. So I always was so attracted to, and I agree so much about community, because I also have created so many communities, and especially when we move out of the corporate, where we don't have this breakfast meeting and company team
Exactly.
building and all those things. We have to create our own communities, because if we
Absolutely.
don't create our own support networks, how are we going to support ourselves? Right?
Exactly. It's so, and I mean, it's so clear, it's so evident that sometimes I don't even understand why they are questioning me, because we are human beings, and we need to get in touch with person that probably have the same goals and the same attitude, because I totally understand what you say, and all the person I get in touch with, it's not a chance that they are all positive spreaders, that are optimistic people, that have their bad days, of course, but we are all humans, but we are trying, to do a step after one another to reach, a bigger goal. And yeah, it's so normal for me, honestly.
Absolutely. What I like about also is this, what you just mentioned, the bigger goal, because many people,
Yeah.
I get approached, like, honestly, like on daily basis, and people ask me, who is managing your LinkedIn? Can you tell me the agency name of your LinkedIn? And I think there's no agency. The agency is myself, right? So that's the agency. But then people are like, okay, how do you do that? Where do all these questions? But it's about the bigger goal. When you have clarity on your message, when you know what's your purpose, when you know what you are trying to get others to do, or encourage, or empower, or inspire, then I think then we get out of our discomfort about it, and we feel okay about showing up there and sharing and creating that impact. Because if we don't, we will not create that impact. You will not spread the message, right? So
exactly. And I got the same question some days ago about videos. I started posting videos, not because I wanted to. I was very scared. I was terrified, honestly.
I remember your first.
Oh my gosh, I still am. I'm always, trying to find out. So I'm so much criticism. We are our worst enemies and critiques. So, but I thought it was a good way to show more about my personality as well. And to tell more about my industry, to tell more about myself. I got so many questions every day. I can't answer to everyone. So it's a way, to keep the conversation going, to share my knowledge again. And I just give it a go, honestly. I wasn't prepared. Oh, thank you, Scott. Scott is such a cheerer. I mean, you have to have a Scott in your community, because when you feel down, he's always there. He's always there cheering up. And I knew that, I made many mistakes, and maybe the audio is not perfect or whatever. But I don't care. I just wanted to try. And that's what I always say to my students and the people I mentor. What's the worst thing that can happen? Can you deal with the worst thing? Well, the worst thing would be someone critiquing yourself. I can deal with it. I've got big shoulders, so I can handle this. And so if the question is, yes, I can deal with it, go for it. And if you are not, doing something wrong to anyone, just try and go for it. There's no harm in doing it. So, but you have to have a goal. You have to have a scope. You have to have a purpose. And I have to be honest with you now. With my son is 16, so is a teenager. He doesn't need me anymore, he said. So I also have more time in a way, and that's why maybe I'm better in juggling all this stuff, because I have more time than in the past, when having you have two kids. It's hard to take care of everything when you have school runs, pickups, clubs, and whatever. Now it's easier, so I have more time to post video as well.
Exactly, and it's progress over perfection, right? It's about taking risks. And again, what I don't understand sometimes, what I'm thinking in my own head about LinkedIn, if you don't like you can remove me from your feed.
Yeah.
You can hide messages. You don't have to watch, but it's people watch and then they feel like they have the power to comment,
I know.
right?
I know.
Or to say something. So yeah, I love that you have that courage, and I love that you said yes to coming to our LinkedIn Live, and this is how we progress as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how, we get better. That's how we can, oh, Raffaella, she's she's the best for me, the best photographer in MotoGP, in motorsport ever. She's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. They have so many nice comments. Honestly, I haven't been showing because I felt like the conversation was so good. But Marta was saying also taking risk is a growth moment, and it's
empowering as well. Exactly. So I don't know, maybe if there are questions, I'm more than happy to answer to any question.
I haven't seen the questions yet, so if any of the viewers have some questions, please post them. We'll make sure to allocate some minutes to answer the questions. But just a question: so those students of yours who are now aspiring to be the Silvia, because I'm confident they have you as a role model. They have put you on the pedestal, if you want to say, and they aspire to become who you are. So what is some of the advice that you can share with them?
Listen, Sanita, I have to tell you that this master, the majority of participants are female. And even this year, and I'm grateful, I'm very happy, because it means that they can see that there is space for women in motorsport, and it's more than doable. Sometimes I feel for men. I have a boy as well, and I always say to them, look, guys, this is not a female motorsport marketing master. I'm just joking, but yeah, most of the question they have for me are all about personal stuff, personal things. So can I have a family and work in motorsport? Can I have kids and work in motorsport? How will I manage traveling around? And there is not, an answer, because it's every industry, every job has its own struggles and hard moments. I mean, being a woman, we know that we have to go through changes in our life, let's say. Motherhood can be a blessing. I mean, of course, for some it's not, it can be hard to juggle a kid or a family and traveling around. I try to answer with my experience. Back then, when I was pregnant, I decided to stop traveling. I had my kid. I wanted to be more at home with him. I didn't have that, career. Oh my God, is going to ruin my career at all. I wanted to stay more closer to him, not to travel. I had the flexibility to do it. So that's something very important. If you find yourself in that moment of your life, I just hope you are in a corporation or in a place, in a job that will allow you to be flexible, because flexibility, I think it's one of the most important thing when you are a working mom. But dads have the same issue in a way. I mean, if I can say that it's an issue. So you just have to adjust to the situation. There is no a perfect answer, right?
Absolutely.
So, and you cannot even answer to all the questions. Sometimes I just say, look, try, give it a go. I mean, send out CVs, try to the application, and you then will see, you figure out. I mean, back then I didn't have any answer. I had lots of questions, but no answer.
So now you're providing those answers.
Exactly, no one providing those answers. So I was determined. I knew what I wanted. I loved my job. But then I loved my kid, so I decided to give him the priority, right? So it's just adjusting yourself to the different times of your lives as well?
You know, it's a very fitting question, because Dimitri was asking, with 2 kids, do you find it easy to travel for work? With kids, it's never easy to travel. And, you know, so many women are struggling with the mother's guilt, or, you know, father's the same. It's always the guilt. You go to work, you feel the guilty that you weren't with kids. You are with kids, you feel guilty that you're not working. And then, am I traveling enough? Am I good enough mother? You know, all of these things. And I think at some point, it's just, again, it comes back to kind of self-compassion, and you have your purpose, you want to be fulfilled. It's important for your own self-actualization. You want to be there for the kids. So I don't think there's it's easy or it's hard. It's you just make choices, and sometimes you are fully present with the kids, and sometimes you are fully present with your work, and there is no perfect life balance. There is no that I don't feel guilty, or there is no I'm bad mother because I went for travel. It's just how you see yourself, how you decide what's right for you, how, you know, and how you decide to manage that life. So yeah, there is no straight answer, unfortunately.
No, there's no straight answer. And honestly, maybe what I do today and what I did 15 years ago, it's different, right? Because I was a different person. So it's easier maybe now to say, oh my God, if I can go back in time, I would do this, this and that. Yes, but first of all, you can't do it. So it's a silly thought to have. And maybe back then it was the right thing to do. So I accept it. So it's as easy as that, honestly. I don't, we are not perfect. And if we have to follow even our instinct in a way, right? And hope that is for the better, honestly.
Absolutely. So we have just a few minutes left, and there is a last question that we can say from Adriana. How can we start building a personal brand in the motorsport world? I'm sure everybody would like to know that. So
that's a great question. That's a great question. Great. Thank you, Adriana. So it's not easy, to be honest, because I understand that if you don't have experience, it's hard to show yourself and talk about something that you are not experienced and you are not maybe you haven't experienced to offer and to show. And sometimes I see that there are so many people just talking generally about motorsports, and I don't know, it's kind of it's not ideal in my way, because there are journalists, there are experts talking about it, so you have to find a way to and even, you know, a strategy of your content. So where you are now, who you are in this moment, try to identify yourself in a way, and understand where you want to go and how you want to be seen. So for me, it's pretty clear, because I'm a marketing advisor and I know about marketing. Sometimes I talk about races and results and stuff, but it's not my goal. There are the journalists do that, or fans do that. I'm happy to jump into conversation, but it's not my topic. So I think you have to find what you want to be seen for. So if you don't have experience, it's hard, but you will get experience. So try to find a way to start, but not to mimic anyone. In my advice is, because it's otherwise you are not. You know, you have to be yourself in a way, so to be trusted. And so again, there's no straight answer here as well, and it's not easy. Start somewhere, and I'm happy to support and to give advice anyway.
Yeah, I think it comes back to 3 C's. I always like to say it's 3 C's. It's your character, it's your competence, and it's your credibility. So you have to show your true character, because I think the worst is when somebody meets you or sees you on LinkedIn and then they go see you on the street and you're a completely different person. I think that's absolutely the worst that can happen.
So true.
And then it's about competency, right? And when you're just starting beginning, you still have some competency. You just start very small, you start in your niche and then you build it up. So you work on the level of competency that you have. And finally, it's the credibility. I mean, if somebody's going to build a brand in motorsports marketing, I would imagine that they have worked there or they have experience or they have some education. So you lean on what you have and then you build from there.
Exactly. And honestly, you can, if you don't have experience, I know that you can't leverage on that. So try to find something else you are recognizable for, or you have within yourself, that I'm sure there is. So that's the most important part. I agree.
I love it. So I know we are at the end, but I just want to finish on a light note. And we before we went live, we talked about this post that actually made me to follow you, which was about, living in UK and how as Italian you have experienced the UK. So could you maybe just share, a few things that always jump out and that, make you laugh?
I think I have to reshare that post because, being Italian, living in London, the cultural shock in a way was pretty hard. And so it was about, corporate email that if you are in Italy, you would never have and receive and write. While here, you have to understand the email and to find the right, meaning that it's intended with the email. And for example, my son, he's very British now. So if I ask him something and he doesn't want, let's say, you are not eating your veggies. Now the answer is, yes, I keep them for, later. After, I'm start with the steak or whatever, and then I leave it for later. So it doesn't say to me, oh no, I don't want them, I don't like them. So thank you, I leave it for later. And it's not going to eat them. I'm sure about an Italian, being in Italy would have said, oh my God, mom, no, I don't want that rubbish. Throw them in the bin straight away. So it's, let's say that you have to read to be good in reading in between the lines very well.
Wonderful. So Matt's saying that he has to go. We also have to go. What are some of the last things you would like to leave the audience with? Some wish or saying or anything that you would like to share?
So listen, we are at the end of the year, so usually this time you try to wrap it up and think about what has been and the next year. I'm not a fan of New Year's resolution. I think we should have a clear goal no matter the time of the year, and start with small steps. If you decide to run a marathon in a month, it's not doable and it is going to be overwhelming. So try with little steps and then a big goal, and cheer and appreciate every failure in between, because it's sometimes through failures we get better and we learn more, and it's part of the process.
I love it, Silvia. Thank you so much. It was such a wonderful discussion.
Thank you, Sanita.
I learned so much about motorsports. I had no idea.
I know, and it's funny because so many people in my community are, texting me saying, oh my God, every time I hear Formula One or something motorsport related, I think about you, and I'm so happy actually.
Absolutely. Build your brand, and that's what and it's helping you, right? So thank you so much for this wonderful discussion. Thank you, all the viewers. I know there were many comments. I did not manage to show all of them. I really appreciate it, you engaging and you sharing. And have a wonderful rest of the day or evening, and see you soon. Bye.
Bye. Ciao, ciao. Thank you.